Is everyone ready?
Were you listening before?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, I'm in disarray.
Welcome to the TILF pod.
Welcome to the TILF pod.
Welcome to the TILF pod.
What does TILF mean?
That sounds vaguely dirty.
What does TILF stand for?
Thought I'd like to finish.
Everybody.
What is happening? Everyone chill, okay?
What great entertainment.
I didn't expect that.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
TILF.
So, we ready?
Take 2 of...
Technically it's take 3.
Say welcome to.
Welcome to
We'll take
podcast.
that.
Welcome to TILF. For context, this is our second time filming the first episode of TILF.
Now my brain is like, ugh, I should have listened to the first episode of a bunch of different podcasts so I could see what happens. And I'm like, no, the whole point of this is that it's like a bit messy, a bit us. Do we have to say hi? I don't remember. I don't know how podcasts even start.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Just answer the question. Just answer the question I asked.
Like, think of it like an improv class.
Yeah. Well, all right. So people who are listening might be asking themselves, what is TILF? That sounds vaguely dirty. So
Is it not?
I don't know.
I thought it was. I thought that's why I was here.
It being vaguely dirty. So TILF, what is TILF to you? TILF to me,
What does TILF stand for?
TILF stands for, I was gonna.
Oh, the irony. The irony.
TILF stands for thought I'd like to finish. So funny because I think too as ADHDers we have a tendency to like autofill what other people are going to say and sometimes we're wrong. We're like, I'd like to finish the thought that I was going to say, or sometimes people get so excited that they are excited to share what it is that they want to say without realizing that you might not have finished and gotten to say what you wanted to say. And so TILF to me is being able to have I would say signal with people that, hey, like I care very much about what you want to say, but in order to be present, I would like the opportunity to finish my existing thoughts.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a little funny jab to ADHDers, especially hyperactive ADHDers, because we have a lot of TILFs and we should have TILF papers here as well.
Yes, so these Post-it notes are something that I've been doing for a couple of years now with people. Well, it's not always a Post-it note. Sometimes it's like a tiny little notebook. But when I'm out with ADHDers and we are often, especially other hyperactive ADHDers, we all want to talk. We all want to share. It's like our brains go so fast with the tangential thinking of like, oh, that reminds me of this. And I can't wait to share because sharing and storytelling is so fun for us. And so having something near where you can write down, here's the thought that I'd like to finish, and then be able to come back and be present and know that you're not going to forget it. So you're not trying to sit there with a thought, in your head. Do you feel, Ari, like you have many thoughts that you'd like to finish that people are talking, or have you learned to sort of like make yourself known, like a presence? Like what do you do to
To make yourself known.
I'd be curious to hear your opinion on that. I think it's group dependent though. So like with you guys, because like it's kind of what you said, because you're so comfortable with that as a reality. So if I'm talking about something I'm excited about, even when I like know that you're probably over it, like you give me the space to do that because we all have ADHD, right? So I've got no problem kind of taking up that space because it's made available for me when I'm around other ADHDers. I still do it because I force myself to, but I'm way less comfortable around like non-ADHDers doing that. Like it would just be like, it's still a challenge.
Yeah, I think there's so much shame around that. Like I feel like every time I interrupt someone and then I catch myself interrupting them. So when I'm talking to neurotypical people, I feel like I spend so much of my energy like trying not to interrupt them. Obviously I fail most of the times, but I try and spend so much time trying not to interrupt them, and I'm holding on to my thought. And then because I'm holding on to my thought so much, I'm not able to actually listen to what they're saying. And then everything just kind of falls apart. So I feel like TILF, to me, what I really like about it is that it puts a word on it, but then two, it's like more positive. It's not like, I don't know, like, oh,
what I have to say is more important.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, this is the thought that I'm holding on to, and like, it's a nice thought, and I'm going to come back to it.
Have
like,
you guys found that, like, in your life, that there have been people who have, like, especially as, like, hyperactive, especially in women, where it's excessive chattiness, right? Where, have you run into issues, like, I know I definitely have, where friends, or, like, you found out that people were kind of talking about how frequently you talk, or thinking that you were self-absorbed, or you made everything about yourself, and in reality it's like, no, I'm trying to relate to you and I'm excited to share, and I didn't realize that wasn't for you. Like, is that I don't think that's just a me thing.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I'm just trying to let you finish.
It's true. I'm just like, shit, that's me. I'm ready.
I'm like, wait, I wanted to get set up with questions.
I just wanted your thought to be finished. I thought it was a thought that you would like to finish.
Very true.
Guys, we're very self-conscious about the TILFs now.
Yeah, like no, it's just be respectful. I always think of my school reports in that thing because like it was always like would get more done if she didn't talk too much, or just the phrase "talk too much" like lives in my brain rent free.
Distracting others.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely
100%.
distracting others.
Or like needs to learn to work independently.
Yeah.
I used to, my teachers used to like take me and put me in this desk like all the way in the corner because I was constantly
I think
Same.
that this leads directly into why are we making this podcast in the first place?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Sorry to moderate on accident. But I just like
Moderation. I'd like to finish.
we're talking though about like seriously though, like it goes so into the fact that like we experience this from a young age, what hyperactivity, looks like, how it presented in us. And that we like want to make sure that that gets represented in media. So
Yeah, I think part of the reason why this all started is because we, as three women who are at least hyperactive, we are we all combined type? I'm combined type.
I'm combined, but I'm definitely leaning more to the hyperactive side.
yeah, hyper.
Okay, and for context, ADHD has three types. There's hyperactive, there's inattentive, and then there's combined, which is basically you satisfy the symptoms of both the hyperactive and the inattentive ADHD. And there recently has been kind of, I guess, I don't know if narrative is the right word, but there's a lot of talk about why women who, when they are not diagnosed as kids, and it's because they present as more inattentive and that they're more internally presenting and therefore didn't bother anyone around them. And that's obviously a super valid and very common experience. But one of the things that we noticed was that the hyperactive female representation was not talked about as frequently and was missed. So I think that that is one of the really, I guess, like driving factors as to like why the three of us got together and why TILF is also the name of this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's funny you said that like it's not the narrative, and that is true, and I agree with that. But I think what I've been hearing recently a lot is typically ADHD presents differently in women. And when we all connected, we were like, actually, if I'm being 100% real, I typically presented like the typical like ADHD boy stereotype in school and stuff like that. And while I think it is so important, like you said, for that conversation to still be there, I think we need to err on the side of caution when we start to use the word typically, because then that creates a whole new issue where, first of all, like inattentive men maybe then don't get diagnosed as much because it flips. And then hyperactive girls, if I was misdiagnosed as a kid, like that's something that like is something that really concerns me. And I don't want I want to make sure that both of those narratives exist.
So what were you misdiagnosed as?
I was, they told me, I was taken to be tested for ADHD when I was like 10, because I had literally every one of the like typical ADHD signs, even like back then, which was, 20 years ago. And they said I was too smart to have ADHD. So that's like, whoa. Which is a flex, but it was a nightmare.
Did the doctor say that, like, did you go see a doctor and the doctor said you were too smart to have ADHD?
Yeah.
My mom in 3rd grade and 5th grade asked my teachers, do you think that Dani could have ADHD? And one of them was like, she's too smart to have ADHD. So one of them was like, no. And also I know nothing about ADHD. And the other one was like, if she does it, her grades are fine.
Yeah.
So it's like, really, I think
she'll live.
It is, yeah, she'll live. Too bad that she like found this fun social group, and then all of a sudden one of them decided that she was annoying, and then they all kind of like decided that they didn't want to hang out with her and just like talk about her behind her back, and then like move on without her. And like I have talked to so many people about this experience, about where you suddenly feel isolated and you don't know what happened. There was a reason to where I was going off on this tangent.
I don't know, like when people think that, I don't know, you're being like too annoying or too loud or anything like that when you're a kid.
But feeling like they don't the diagnosis thing. My social life was being impacted, but my academics like weren't. I wasn't studying, so I wasn't actually getting any study skills because I was just naturally able to remember the material, but I was like really engaged in class. I sat, I raised my hand, and staying engaged was how I didn't form like daydreaming habits, right?
Yeah.
So because she said, well, her grades are fine, that implies that like ADHD only matters if you're getting bad grades and not like her emotions are getting damaged. She's forming all of these like negative associations with talking too much. Like she's doing all of these like, so I'm having social repercussions, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but specifically of your hyperactive symptoms,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Except even being smart, I still got bad grades.
Yeah.
Because I got so much dopamine from getting in trouble.
I resonate with that.
And then I was the goody two-shoes kid. That's so
That's what I mean. And like, and even more to the point, that's why it's so important, because even though like even us, like we have
we're
that
so
shared
different.
experience. Yeah. And because of you like still flourishing, for lack of a better word, in the like education system, like that would have even looked different on you. So and that's exactly why I'm like, I think we just need to lean away from the word typically when it comes to ADHD in any sense. And I think that's why this podcast is really cool for that.
Even
reason.
the fact that we're all hyperactive, but like you identify as being a goody two shoes, we're getting in trouble all the time.
kid me.
Kid you.
So don't ruin that.
No, what the funniest thing was like I wasn't like a goody two. I got demerits all the time. I was constantly getting demerits. Oh my god! Because I want to know if you guys had this too. I would talk back to teachers. I have like from day one had like a fundamental dislike of authority, especially when it comes to rules that don't make sense or like hypocrisy.
Hated
or like
rules that didn't make sense.
I can't stomach it. I can't like take something
I
that
feel
makes
that so
me
hard.
angry and shove it down enough to just like let it dissipate. I'm like, it's like showing if I am keeping it in, it's on my face.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
That's why I was in trouble at school all the time. It's also why I got fired so many times. Because I'm just like, the way that you're doing this is so illogical, and I can't not say that to you. But like, it's just not really how the world functions.
And in some ways, I feel like also if you're a girl, and for me also like being Asian, I feel like being Asian and being a girl, it's like even less expected of you to be like hyperactive in the rebel and to like not like just not listen. And so I feel like I think it's wider, like when we talk about underrepresentation, is wider than just hyperactivity. I think that's what connected us all. But for me personally, definitely I think being Asian and being queer like has had such a big impact on how my ADHD shows up. And I think in the beginning, like when I was going on Instagram or whatever, it was like really difficult for me to find people who I felt like I could resonate with until, well, like obviously you guys and different parts of you guys I'll resonate with, right? But so I think one thing that's really important to me for this pod is for people who are out there who maybe weren't able to find someone that looks like them or thinks like them or their ADHD shows up like them to like maybe see a little bit of themselves in like one of us.
Yeah. I think, and especially the queer thing as well, I think that's so important because, especially with it's actually crazy to me because the statistics around being queer and having ADHD, like if you have ADHD, you're just far, far more likely to be queer. But I never really see that like as a central narrative, even like at events or on the internet or online or in how it just doesn't come up. It just doesn't come up very often, which I think is bizarre given that obviously relationships are such a fundamental part of our existence.
Yeah.
And identity.
And gender identity, I think it's so huge for not just ADHD, but just all neurodivergent folks are so much more likely to be queer.
Weird that's not happened. We should probably make a podcast about it.
Should we start a second podcast?
Funny enough, so I ran a like Twitter poll, which again is like a not official research, but shockingly, in a shocking turn of events, my Twitter is not a research place, a research place. My following, which was, like over, I forget how many, it was like at least 10,000 votes on this. And it was how, do you like identify, sexually, and straight was like by far the last one.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me though.
Yeah. No. And so like, I talked about this a lot. Not that there aren't any, I don't meet very many women with ADHD who are straight. I identified that as straight for like a really long time. Kind of went through like a phase where everybody kind of I have a feeling that a lot of people I used to hang out with that I'm not close with anymore might have had some discoveries later in life
In the
that
ADHD,
I did.
in the ADHD community, like in the
In the same way that
Did
did you find out that like childhood friends have been newly diagnosed? Like
Yes,
friends that you
yes,
of course,
That's what I'm saying. As I'm like, I had this thing. I'm like, oh, I thought that this was normal. I thought that everybody acted like this, but actually, it was the people I surrounded myself with.
Yeah,
because
we're like
on the
magnets.
because we're on the same. Literally, we're on the same wavelength. right? Like we vibe when we vibe, it's because we are
magnets
at the same vibration. And so versus when we aren't on the same vibration as other people, it feels like there's friction, I think. And so finding people who are on that same wavelength, we meet and we click and we instantly are like, did we just become best friends, right? Because we are so used to feeling misunderstood.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question around that though? Because it's really, and this is why I wanted to do this, because when you say to me, and I know we've talked about it before, when you say to me like, especially in the community, the part of the community that we're in, the ADHD world, so like the content creators, the people who represent ADHD on social media in some ways, when you say to me like, loads of people I know in the ADHD community are queer, I'm like, are they? And not because they're not, but because I'm just like, then why don't they talk? Why is that conversation not rampant? Do you like,
know why?
I couldn't name one person
So
I can
many
think
of them
other
are
than-
all with men, and there's a big feeling shame about outwardly talking about being queer and having a boyfriend or having a husband.
I get that. I also think there's quite a lot of shame about talking about having ADHD too. And
Yeah,
like,
but I think they add on to each other. Like I'm in a straight relationship. Sorry, that was not what I was supposed
you
to
just
say.
did. You just did.
Yeah,
You
so
just did
I
the
have,
thing.
I have a boyfriend and I'm pansexual, and whenever I'm in a relationship with a guy, I feel massive imposter syndrome for being a part of the queer community. And there is a lot of shame and shunning coming from the queer community for that. Like not every single community, right?
well-
So you add that on to ADHD and they like compound each other.
Yeah, I think that they're, and also bear in mind we're going off different countries as well. So I
This
can't
is
speak
also
to like
true.
the American experience.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. And also I guess for me, I'm like people who hate on queer people who are in straight relationships. Like it's just the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like
It is.
it's like,
but
I know
the
that
comments still hurt. And so I
yeah.
think for a lot of people who, you know how it's like somebody can't hurt you unless it's something you already think about yourself. The answer on my Twitter poll, I really want to say statistic, but like I don't want to be incorrect, but it was high, it was the highest one. I feel like it was at least 50%. Like it was huge, or like close to 50% was bi with imposter syndrome.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
that's
Because that's what it was for me. And the thing that I connected with online was that made me realize, that made me like think about, wow, okay, wait, I have really been just shoving this down because it felt like it didn't matter because I'm married. I'm like married to a man, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw a TikTok about this girl talking about how she felt like she was the worst kind of straight girl because like, she has thoughts that are like, these are probably not thoughts that straight people have, but then also like I've only dated men. And so if I was gonna date a woman, wouldn't I have done it by now? When in reality, when women hit on you, it's so hard to know if they're just being friendly because it looks like friendly women, like, right? And I was like, oh, this is what men complain about, you know, but like,
Wait, are you talking about is gay panic coming up already?
no, I'm just saying that it's really difficult because there are women who it's very obvious when a man is hitting on you in a way that it is not always very like sometimes it is. I'm not saying there are no.
No, I totally get what.
Okay.
Which is weird for me to say. So I'm like, yeah, all those men there. I totally get it. It's so hard, but I get it. It is because
They don't act that way typically towards women that they're not trying to get with.
Yeah.
In a way that I think that women do like bond that way and are just like having a good
Yeah,
time.
it's hard to tell the difference between like, do you want to be my friend or are you us?
So I experienced gay panic. I remember, yesterday where we were talking about it and I was like, oh, I can't think of an actual time where it happened. I was talking to a girl at a conference and we had just been bonding. We were friends. We hit it off right away. We were talking and she just like put her hand like on my thigh while we were talking, which is very bold. I really think she was like, I need you to get the point here. Right? Because she could tell that it was just woof, like right over my head. And I was like, oh, right. I called Josh. I was like, like I was engaged. I was like, this girl is hitting on me. Like I was so, you think that would have been an indicator. This was like literally years before.
Oh, so you didn't even know?
No. Like it's looking back on it, it's so obvious, it's so funny that I was raised religious, but I've always had so many gay friends, and I thought that I was like bi-curious in college, right? Like, but I had like I know that's what I'm saying.
No, I get it.
Because I went through that phase. And I didn't ever hook up with a girl. And then I ended up marrying a man. It was like, well, that must have just been a phase. Ultimately, the representation that I've seen about those differing queer experiences online, that unlocked it for so many people.
Well,
like
that's what I'm
there's articles
saying,
after
though.
articles of TikTok helping bi girls realize they were bi.
So that's what I'm saying.
I know. I'm agreeing with you.
So, and I mean, we're all agreeing.
We're all aggressively agreeing.
even so though, because of that, like that is why I was like, if this is the case and this is true, and there's that fear there, like maybe we can use this podcast to also represent that as well, and be like, look, we are queer in a bunch of different ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're all
hyperactive in
ADHD,
different ways.
Like,
How happy I would be if someone watching this or listening to this heard that and heard their experience and just had a holy shit moment, because I have goosebumps. I'm like getting teary. I'm like literally.
That's okay. You can cry. It's safe space.
I have shown that videos. I've shown that video to so many people in my life.
Yeah.
Because it was like, how often, like, and people have this with ADHD content too, where it's like, this is the comic, or this is the video, or this made it click for me.
Yeah.
And I could accept a part of myself, a part of my identity that I felt like I didn't deserve or that I didn't belong to. Like I was outside of the norm of what I saw represented, and that made me feel like I didn't belong. And so I think that tying in so well for why we're doing this in the first place, like you said, of people who feel different need to feel like represented.
Yeah, no, and I think that what I love about us too is that like the way we've had
Pink pen.
I picked up the pink pen and I was like, why can't I see anything?
This is my pen. What I love about us too is that we're all in different parts of our journey, like queer journey, ADHD journey, all of that. But I think that we've all, like, not to shoot our own horns, but we're in a really good spot. Like,
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like we've taken our ADHD, and not just ADHD, just like our whole story and our whole selves, and we've really like harnessed it, you know, like, and I think that that's one thing that I think is really important to me in this podcast, and important to all of us, to be able to shine the light on the positive aspects as well, and kind of how do we work with our challenges and everything we have to really like build awesome lives, because
that's what
we're kind of awesome. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
We can like, because we're all awesome.
Yeah, because
I mean, you're not wrong. You're literally obviously
no, the whole community is, and I think so many people like don't realize that yet.
Yeah, and I think exactly, and it's so hard to do. I think people assume that if you can find the positives and what you love in ADHD, you therefore are disregarding the challenges and the negatives of that experience in life that do make things a lot harder. I would like to advocate for both coexisting.
Yes.
Yes.
I was about to say that like, I think that the narrative that hurts a lot of people, because I like not love, but like part of being on the chronically online ADHD community and being in the comment section and like seeing how people feel about stuff. One of the big controversial things is like ADHD is a superpower, right? Because to me, and I've had this conversation with quite a few people, where most people who use that phrase are like straight white men, or people who have such hardcore support systems in place, whether they be a partner who doesn't have ADHD or whatever, that their life isn't falling apart because of their ADHD. When people have severe ADHD and don't have support in place, and their life is falling apart, and somebody says to them, your ADHD is a superpower, you just haven't figured out how to harness it yet, a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm failing at life, and I'm also failing at having ADHD. I'm not living up to my potential in life, and I'm also not living up to my ADHD potential. And so people to be able to say, like, there are two sides to the same coin, right? And that there's a basement and a ceiling to like so many traits, because this tangential thinking means that you're likely to like grab a thought and run away with it and like talk too long. But it also means that you're gonna think of things that nobody thought of. And when you have a brilliant idea or a brilliant strategy, or your project is like off the wall, it was like, you're so creative. And it's like this same exact thinking process is being applied in a way that you don't like, right? Or a way that like doesn't, when it's here, it's like beautiful and everyone praises you for it, but when it applies itself in a different context, people associate it with like negativity. And so it's one of those things where again, they're like two sides of the same coin, I think.
I like to use the front and the back of the hand, but I think that one's more common.
I do also think though, so that word superpower online, it really fascinates me in the ADHD journey, because I know that the reason that as content creators, am I going to regret saying this? Maybe. We're in it now. We're doing it now. I think that the reason that as content creators that we shy away from using the word superpower, and I mean with context too. So I mean as in like, it is a superpower for this specific thing, right? So not in general, because that's some dumb shit, but like for this specific thing, I would be afraid to say that online because I know the fucking second that I do, my comments are getting hammered and hammered and hammered with like, ADHD is not superpower, you fucking suck, like whatever, right? And I do wonder, I made a video about this actually. No, wait, I didn't. Well, I did, but it's a different thing. But
So you didn't.
I made 2 videos about 2 separate things that relate to this. The first one was, it doesn't really matter if you think that ADHD is a superpower or a disadvantage because it is what it is. Like, you are in it now, so here we go. But the other side of it is just, I lost my train of thought. I hate that for me.
ADHD superpower.
Yeah, keep going. Keep giving me those prompts. Prompt me like ChatGPT.
Yeah, I can share mine. You can come back to it.
Yeah,
I think that for did you get it back? Do you back? Okay.
People getting mad at you online.
No.
Okay, we'll come back.
It'll come back.
Yeah, so I think for me, superpower, I like the word, but I think we don't need to say like ADHD is a superpower. Nor it's like I am Chris and I have these superpowers. Some of them come from my ADHD. Like I have a superpower of creativity. I have a superpower of being able to look at parallel things that don't seem interrelated and then connect them. But it's not like my ADHD is, you know, and I think people make it really black and white, and online especially people like to find reasons to fight each other.
Yes.
But it's not that black and white. It's contextual. I have superpowers. I have things that are really crappy because of my ADHD, and I figure out ways to like work around it.
Exactly.
I'm really excited that we're talking about this because I have done a panel and this came up and it was like, it's the most like controversial, I would say, discussion.
It literally
right now.
is. It literally is.
Because it requires nuance, right? And it's so many of us slip into this black or white thinking about so many things. And one of the things that I have always kind of felt is like, I absolutely do not judge anyone else for like describing their own identity or their own skill set or how they interpret their own ADHD as a superpower. It's as soon as you start to tell other people definitively ADHD like is a superpower, or like ADHD gives, it's like if I say my ADHD superpowers is blah 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 versus like I have seen the one beef I got into online, which I don't get into beefs unless I know 100% that I will be correct and that everyone will be on my side. But there is a creator who made a video about, I'm tired of seeing people whine about, I have ADHD, so my life sucks. Like, it's a blessing, not a curse. Like this and this and this and this, right? And he was making all of these really, really definitive statements. And I was like, look, there are so many positives. Like I had like a gigantic list of like, here are all of these like awesome things that come with ADHD, but also not everything is a superpower. And like, so long as you are able to acknowledge that like, I lost my birth certificate, that does not feel like a superpower, you know, that if you don't at least like either spend time talking that they're acknowledging that there are two sides, or advocating for the fact that like you're just talking about your own subjective experience instead of projecting it onto telling other people how they should feel about their own ADHD.
And that's what it is. And it's like I feel like and obviously it's just my experience, but when I see someone with ADHD thinking it's a superpower, I'm buzzing for him.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God, no, that's awesome. I love that for you. But I think that like there is this ADHD on ADHD hate online. And I'm just like, bro, like we're already struggling, and like it is already hard enough. We're already battling against systems that aren't designed for us. Like, do we really need to like now start having a crack at each other?
So excited for the comment section of this video.
I mean,
My handle is at Dani Donovan.
No. Well, the thing is I really think that this is such a great,
it's
like,
important,
nuanced
though.
conversation.
It's an important conversation.
And people are afraid to have it. And I really think that one of the beautiful things
and that's
about
what we're about.
the podcast is bringing it back, is that we are going to be able to explore topics that might be a bit controversial, and I think provide the nuance that is required to have them.
Yeah, totally. And I think
100%.
like, okay, so why don't we go to the last one, because I think we kind of touched on it with all of the hate going on online. I think that really, really irks me that like ADHDers are turning on each other, because it's already like a community that we really need to stand together, and we know the immense power of like being with people who really get you. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like, for me, probably one of the most important things that's kind of like a side undercurrent of this podcast is like really just like living through the fact that we met each other through this community that we get to do this every single day, that other people will meet each other through this community as well, and that the community is so important because like, I don't know, just like my whole life has just been like other people like telling me I'm like to this or to that. And then what's happening? Once we're together, like just, yeah, even
It's
just
so
like
normal.
this
I feel
plan,
normal.
this whole planning process also, like we've been able to like just work through things and like all these miscommunications in ways that just I'm not used to, you know?
My God, I want to speak.
You have a TILF. You have
I can
so many
feel it in my
TILFs.
head.
say TILF.
I know,
You
look,
should
all of my
make-
thoughts
but you
and
didn't.
emotions
She
in
didn't
it.
start it yet.
No, I didn't start it.
Write
yet.
it and like
No,
put
I
it
didn't
out
start-
in
No,
front of
it's, no, it's
yourself.
cool. I can wait. I'm a grown up. I can wait.
Okay, Ari?
But also, I'm going to keep losing them if not. Danny, you said something earlier that I wrote down here and I was going to come back to anyway. Use the word belong. And I think that is exactly what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
And I think that there is nothing more powerful than that feeling of being seen and then being accommodated for, but in a way that doesn't feel like an accommodation. Like it just feels like respect and like understanding. And like that's like if you can find that, if groups of people with ADHD can find that within themselves, and maybe stop having a bit of a crack at each other on the internet sometimes, like, that might be good. Then like even what we've come together to do in this time is happening because of that. Like that's directly connected. It's not because like we have this big goal to like achieve all these things. We literally were just like, man, I get you. Like, should we maybe collaborate and make some stuff? Yeah, and that's magical.
Especially for other people who are gonna feel like, I think, heard, and again, that sense of belonging. Because my favorite, I don't listen to podcasts, but when I do, no, I don't listen to very many. But the ones that I love the most are ones that feel like you're just sitting with friends, and I'm like driving, or I'm doing dishes, or I'm doing whatever, and like I wish I was there, or like I feel like I get to be there, and it's fun, and I'm still learning things along the way, but I'm learning them from friends, from peers. I'm not learning them from like a teacher or a parent or like that sort of. It's like such a different relationship. And so I really love that about this podcast, because I know there is a lot of ADHD informational podcasts out there, and it feels like, and they're so good, and I've listened to like all of them. But a lot of them do focus on like interview style.
Yeah.
Right? There's not a lot of like shoot shit ADHD podcasts, or if there are those.
And they are definitely not led by
Absolutely.
which is cool. I love that. I think it's gonna be awesome, and I can't believe we pulled it together.
Yeah.
We are very impressive. Look at us.
Impressive.
This literally happened like when did you guys
I
less than a week ago.
Yeah.
To like actually start like organizing.
No, it was less than that. It was like 5 days ago that
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
Chris, like, come on, mate. Like, I'm literally like, I've extended staying in America far longer than I was supposed to. Get down from San Francisco. Let's record this.
And like
I
look
stole
at
you
this,
from LA.
yeah,
Look
yeah.
at this space. Like look at this space and like
pulled this off in like a couple days.
Yeah.
I mean, I already had, to be fair, I had all of the equipment from a podcast that I had planned on recording and then canceled. So I was like holding on to this stuff, and now it feels really great to be in this space, to be with you guys. I didn't realize that what I needed wasn't to like do something on my own and try to have other people help me do my vision. Like being able to like build something with you guys is really something I'm excited about, that everybody kind of has this co-ownership of our, ideas. Everybody's ideas matter, and like consensus building. But one of the absolute best things so far is that I feel so connected to you, and it feels like we've been friends for years, and it's like, me better than so many, like the people in my wedding party, you know what I mean? Like we've been hanging out for like 10 seconds.
it's actually wild. I think I
crazy.
literally started talking to you guys like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like properly talking.
Other than when we met like for like 2
Yeah,
seconds
yeah.
At conferences and stuff. Yeah.
So I would, in case the plot was lost along all of this,
Yes.
I do want to summarize, like, we are so excited, and we're so excited for this podcast. And I think, like, to wrap it all together, the 3 really big reasons and kind of like our whys and how we hope that this will be different and valuable for everyone. It's already valuable for us to be able to do this together. Is for all the underrepresented people out there, no matter how you're underrepresented, we may not be able to represent everything, but we hope that you see a little part of us. And then 2, a little part of your, oh no, sorry.
We hope that you see
I hope.
Welcome to our OnlyFans.
A lot of this.
Let me finish. We hope that you'll see a little bit of yourself in us, and it'll spark.
How much of themselves in us?
That's a normal sentence.
No, yeah, it is.
See a little bit of yourself in
So normal.
in us, and be able to have these conversations with your friends as well. And then 2, we really want to highlight, in addition to the challenges, which we'll obviously get into by accident, but the positive parts of what we can achieve as a community and by ourselves. And then lastly, it's really just like having some fun as ADHDers who are hyperactive, and really just hopefully inspiring other folks to like also go out and make your ADHD homies. We're awesome. Maybe come out to some of the events that we're going to, because we'll have a great time together. And I'm just like super, super excited.
Like neurodiversion 26.
Yes. I would love to hear though, before ending this, like maybe just like one thing that you guys are each, and me, like excited for. Like if you just pick one thing
Like
that you're
in
excited
life
for.
or in this
No, for
podcast
this
specifically?
podcast. For like, because we kind of know what the
Yeah, yeah.
episode, we don't know exactly what the other episodes will be, but we kind of know what's coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So I would love for everyone to share one thing that you're excited for.
Mine's easy, but it's self-serving. Like it's super selfish.
Whatever you're excited about.
I've spent so long, because I'm a solo entrepreneur, and I work obviously remotely. I've spent so long like feeling this intense sense of loneliness like within my business. So even when I'm connecting with other entrepreneurs, like they don't have ADHD, so they don't like hit as well. You know what I mean? Like it's not that same thing. So to actively spend time with you two, who I see so much of myself in, and we have those shared interests, and we have all of these things in common, and just to get to spend time chatting with you about those things, like what more could I ask for? That's like my ideal situation.
Also, we're all entrepreneurs. I don't know if we said that. No, you were like, I've kids. Sorry. That's like, to explain things to the audience, where it's just like, I don't have, you know.
P.S. We all do entrepreneurship.
I was going to add an intro into the front.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. What I'm excited about is the, you know, again, the like ADHD friendships thing, but like a different side of it. Because one of the things that I have loved, and feels so different about my connection with you is that there are still many misunderstandings, and it is hard to work through misunderstandings with people, and they happen so frequently because just of the way that I was like that our brains are wired, or we, you know, autofill, or we there's something missing, and we're each just desperately trying to make sure like feel understood, and then we find whatever the little thing is and are able to sometimes like recognize what's happening, and or so being able to notice when things in our communication come up, or even things like the TILF post-its, being able to ask for what we need or call out what we notice is great, because I think that this is the type of like friendship that I've been looking for my whole life, with people who will just be straight with me. People.
Sorry, I was very excited that I just threw that into the air.
Because what did you throw?
My fidget. My fidget.
Fuck the whole studio, man. You've ruined the whole emotional moment with your behavior.
Being able to talk with people who know that I never have, and we've talked about this before, never have negative intent.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
anytime anything feels like it could have any sort of like negative undertone, it's like something is disconnected. And instead of being like, and it's upsetting me to think about, so I'm going to step, sometimes you need to step away, but we always like come back and make sure that we kind of, touch on it. And so like some of that is just interpersonal things that like what I love about our friendships. But in future episodes, I anticipate there's going to be plenty of times where, somebody says something and we didn't catch it. And like we work through kind of like miscommunications in real time, and people can see what that level of like emotional intelligence can look like. And to me, that's the like aspirational communication friendship that like I aspire to. Not just like, I think that there are definitely people who will be inspired by the things we have to talk about, the topics that we cover, the entrepreneurship angle, like the productivity angle, the ADHD angle. But for me, getting to hear people who talk, like I want my friends and I to be able to to have those kinds of conversations.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yes, and to both of your guys's and
No, but
no, it's actually yes and
of good
yes and so hard. I'm like trying not to comment on everything.
Oh, same. I'm finding it so difficult.
I think for me, I feel like we're in this such a lucky position where we actually like in terms of time like haven't known each other for very long. So I feel like we get to. Well, I'll speak on behalf of myself. I feel like you're an incredible entrepreneur and you're freaking hilarious and you know how to build businesses like better than anyone else. And you are like such a creative fucking badass creator who's also hilarious. So I'm just so lucky that I get to know you guys out loud like here, and everyone else gets to like also learn from everyone here. And yeah, I just feel like it's such a unique opportunity, and I think I'm just really excited to be able to like uncover out loud, like live, all of the awesome things that you guys have done and also how you've done it, and hopefully people will be able to like take a little bit away from that as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was so nice.
that's the last nice things I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, is this a trap?
Yeah.
No, that was. Yes, and
Tune in for episode 2 next time.
Wait. Did you say your thing already
no. Wait, what thing?
about what you were excited about? Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You said it first.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like,
No.
I had a panic.
My brain was
Clearly didn't remember. Let's go. We're gonna cut it.
No, this is a great way to end the episode. Thanks for stopping by.
I remember what it was. Sorry, we went out of order and my brain was like, I want to make sure that we don't forget in case you have any other final things. I'm like, oh, wait, now we just go back down the road again.
I'm trying not to make everyone add a lot of final things. That's why.
And
okay. We'll
here
cut this.
are our thoughts we wish we didn't finish. See you next time.
Okay.
All right. Well, closing is weird. We're going to stop.
I thought we
recording
already
now.
closed.
Wait,
I don't
don't
know.
forget to like, subscribe, and click all the
Oh,
things.
yeah. Like, subscribe, and click.
Like, subscribe, and kick all the things.
Fuck the system. No, we are definitely.
I thought we were
No,
done
it's
already.
funny.
All right, we're stop now.
How do we finish this?